Welcome back to Daybreak. We are going to pick up where we left off. We are still in part one of our series, Life After Death, and we are on You're Still Here, Live Boo. We're on that part of the Life After Death series. So anyway, where we left off was discussing Matthew 25. We were talking about the 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise virgins. I think one of my last statements was I was discussing with those of us who are called to true ministry in this last day that no matter what's going on around you, no matter what the persecution is, you have to make a decision whether you're going to be sold out or whether you're going to be a sellout. How about that? So that's totally your choice. But understand this: if you reject him before men, then he will reject you before his Father. So that's a choice you'll have to make. But back to the wise and foolish virgins. While they went to buy, this is verse 10, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Understand this: the door was shut. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, my master, open unto us. But he answered and said, verily I say unto you, I know you not. Now I was sitting here and I was, kind of studying this and meditating on the scripture that was being spoken here. And it's not an issue of, a lot of people, I don't know, they don't understand the scripture. Some things are literal, some things are figurative. It's not that he doesn't know their name per se, because the Father could reveal anybody to the Son. It's not that they're not known by name, it's that they're not in a relationship with him. Understand, these were invited to come and meet the bridegroom as well as the other virgins. They were just so stupid they weren't ready. They weren't prepared. They didn't take the time and the care. Remember, we were talking about that woman that makes eggs for her husband after all of these years of being married to him, not knowing that he doesn't like eggs. They didn't take the time or the care to prepare for his coming. So it says here in verse 13, watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. You don't know when he's going to show up. But guess what? You don't have to worry about when he's going to show up if you're always ready. Follow me? My husband and I, in our earlier parts of our marriage, I came from a home where being a little bit behind schedule was okay. He came from a home where being on time was everything. So he had to teach me the lesson one time the hard way. He got in the car and pulled off because I wasn't ready. Okay? My bad. I wasn't ready. But after that time, I was always ready. See, I got to know my husband. When he said he wanted to be somewhere on time, it may have been 30 minutes before we were scheduled to be there, and we were going out the door 30 minutes and the place was only 5 minutes away. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, it's only 5 minutes away. We've got 20 minutes to get there. But in his mind, he wants to be early so that he's not late. So it's all about knowing, okay? Relationship is all about getting to know the other person. These foolish virgins took no time or no care to know whom they were dealing with. So when they got back, after going and buying this oil that they should have already had, they got shut out. Now they're standing on the outside, knocking on the door, trying to get in, when they could have been in the first place if they had just been ready. No different than those who got washed away, the wicked that got washed away in the flood. There could have been many more people on that ark, but those chose their wickedness. They did not choose the way that Noah chose. So therefore, Noah and his family were the only people that got on that ark. Okay? They were the only ones that were saved because Noah was a righteous man. He chose righteousness. Okay? So what I want to discuss with you is don't take Yahweh's pursuit of you lightly. See, a lot of people, like I said, they're okay with accepting him as creator. Wow, yeah, he's a creator. He created everything on the earth. But I guess they kind of forget that he created them and all of the sacrifice that was made on their behalf to restore them back to him. So don't take his pursuit of you lightly. See, you're invited to be in a relationship with him. And like I said, it's not something deep or something so unreachable that you can't reach it. That's religious people trying to make it that way, but it's very simple. You've been invited, and rejecting his advances over and over again, all I can tell you is everybody has their limits. Only crazy people continue to chase after people that don't want anything to do with them. Even Yahweh had his limits when it came to the children of Israel. He said, you know what? I'm drawing a line. I'm officially divorcing you. Yes, Yahweh said that. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they get over into all of these different conversations about divorce and God hates divorce. Yes, he does hate divorce, but there are times when divorce is a necessary thing, and we'll be covering that in the upcoming parts of this series, Life After Death. We'll be covering some of that, but right now I want to tell you, don't take his pursuit of you lightly. He said, with loving kindness have I drawn you. He's always, the scripture talks about him raining on the just as well as the unjust. Why does he rain on the just as well as the unjust? Because the just are his, right? So he got to give them their love. But why is he raining on the unjust? Because he's a merciful father, and he desires that you come in a relationship with him. So while you thinking it's you doing all these great things that you do and accomplishing all these great things, he's still loving on you. You're just not heeding to the call that he's, to his wooing, I should say. You're not heeding to his wooing. You're ignoring his wooing. But I'm telling you, everybody has a limit, And in Romans, it talks about how people neglect to retain the knowledge of Yahweh in their minds. They ignore his existence. They ignore what he wants from them. Not that they don't know what he wants, and not that they don't know who he is. They reject him. And because they reject him, he turns them over to a reprobate mind to allow them to do amongst themselves what is not convenient. In other words, do what you want to do. But see, a reprobate is an airhead. A reprobate is somebody that does things out of a mind that has no value. Everything they do is valueless. It's empty. It's vain. It does not profit them at all. So moving on, let's go to Matthew chapter 24. Let's start at verse 4. Yahushua said this to his disciples. He said, take heed that no man deceive you. And we've hit on this just a little bit while we were talking about the whole, how people in the four walls, religious people, try to portray something that they're not even a part of in an effort to keep those who are outside out, and it makes you feel like I need to get myself together before I come in. No. The word says here in Matthew 24 in verse 4, take heed that no man deceive you. Why is this being spoken? Because there are many deceivers. There are all kinds of people that are out to deceive people. Well, see, they are of their father, the devil, because he's a liar. He's a destroyer. He's the one that kills, steals, and destroys. His whole aim, I put this up on my Facebook page a couple of days ago. His whole aim is for you to worship him. Okay? A lot of people want to say that his MO is a bunch of different things because it sounds religious and good, and maybe their pastor or their preacher said it. But I'm going to tell you, the bottom line to Satan's whole scheme of things is for you to worship him as Yahweh, not for you to worship the Father. That's his whole scheme. This is what he's been planning forever, ever. And he's got lots of thousands of years under his belt on how he's going to get your worship. And many of you have fallen into that trap. It says here in verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall deceive many. But before I go there, I love to get ahead of myself because I get excited. But I want to go back for a second. Take heed that no man deceive you. Relationship with the Father and his Son does not come based on what other people are saying. In other words, you can't get in a relationship with him just off of someone else's words. This is something that you need to know how to do. Okay? Are you following what I'm saying? You need to take the time to know what it is that is required of you to be in a relationship with him. Because people will tell you all kind of things. You need to speak in tongues in order to be saved. If you ain't baptized, you ain't saved. People will tell you all kind of stupid stuff. Okay? But your relationship with him is predicated on your seeking out the relationship. Your taking the time to get to know what's required of you.